All right, we are all set up and ready to go. So, hello everyone, and welcome back to Factorio. So this time, I believe it is just about time to get started on our large production thing. So currently we have this very, very janky, early mid-game type factory where everything is just sort of squeezed in and it's all very cramped and unpleasant. So this time, I think we finally have enough production and enough tech and everything that we can try to start expanding. So if we head over here, we have these things. And these things are basically the train stops that I had designed to be where we get all of our resources for production steps. Now, there's a lot more that I have to do, though, than just these. So, let's see. First off, we have these, and we've also copy-pasted them over to here. And we need to figure out, first of all, how these are connecting in with the larger logistics network. Because this system that we have here, obviously this is just a train station. It's nothing else. And it's also missing some of the basic stuff for train stations, although we might not even need buffers if we're doing it this way, because we can just use more trains for it. So yeah, let's think. So the natural way of connecting these would be to just have you go out that way, and then you can get connected up like that. And then we would do the same thing on the other side. And then we would go over here. And how do we actually want this to line up? Because actually what I'm thinking is I want open space up this way for the actual factory to be built, which I think means we actually want this to not go off to the side like that. Instead, let's take that stuff out. We can leave that stuff because it's far enough away to not be in the way. If we have this come down here, and then you join up with it like that, then we would do the same thing over this side. So you curve down to there, and then you're gonna have to come over this way. Then this other output is gonna have to join up, and it doesn't look like that's quite possible. So what if we make this go straight for a little bit longer? Like if you go down like that and then curve. And then obviously that's going to have this train line be in the way, but we can move that. So you go something like that. And then these two are going to curve in here. And this can actually start curving earlier. like as early as back here where they connect up. So you would go in like that. And we would get rid of that because it's gross. Alright. I don't know if that's like actively not connecting properly or what is going on. Yeah, I think that's just not connected up. So what if we have... Yeah, so this is wrong then. So you need to go down like that. Then you need to go one further and then make the curve, apparently. Weird train loops being weird. And then these would come in not quite that far, actually, because we want them to connect up to lines that are centralized on here just for symmetry's sake. So something like that, and there, and then something like that, and then expand out to there. Alright, that is not perfect, but it is pretty decent. So then we just have to get all this stuff built and get over here. Alright, so some other drones are apparently going to place those tracks, which is okay. Okay, we need all of these guys to get powered up. So you just go like this, and like... Okay, this one is actually a little bit tricky, but we can make it work. And let's just have those connect across down to there so that we know that they're actually working. And we also have to get those connected across to there. So then we just get the rest of these guys in. And that is all powered up. And then I guess we have to do the same thing here. So that goes there, that goes there. Just get them all in. And we are going to want to change these to bulk inserters as well. So let's get around to doing that. Because we didn't have bulk inserters, or at least we didn't have enough of them while we were building this. Alright, so now those are all powered up. Now I can take bulk inserters and set them up like this to just fill in all of these guys. And we can't use the drag upgrade tool because it's gonna try to upgrade the belts, which we don't want, because this number of red belts should be fine for a while, and we are still a bit sketchy on the blue belt production. So obviously on a case-by-case basis we can upgrade things that need blue belts. But we also apparently don't have enough bulk inserters to do this, so that's yikes. Alright, let's get signals in here. So we do something like that. Then each of these guys gets a signal. And each of these guys gets a signal. We already have one. There we go. Now we go out to here, and These guys all get signals. I don't know if this might need to be a path signals, because we are doing a whole lot of merging up here. But I think it'll be fine. So if we just have a signal there, then that is all good. And we're also going to want a signal here. Alright, so we have something along those lines. Then what else is missing from this? Well, we have that train line there, which is sort of annoying in the way. Okay, so this has its output belts all set up. Right, we've got plenty of those. And we don't need to deal with... We don't need to deal with buffer chests, because the way this is going to work is we have 2 stations per resource, so we're never going to have a point where it's stopped completely unless, you know, we're out, in which case that's a different problem. Alright, so this is probably everything we need for a train stop specifically. Just checking science production is still going, that's good. And then there's the question of, like, first of all, drone coverage for all of this. We might need to, like, have a drone port in this blueprint. Yeah, we're probably going to have a couple. So if we get this guy here, that should maybe be big enough for construction purposes to get the entire thing. And yeah, I don't know, just something like that, I guess. Okay, major attack somewhere, but that's fine. Actually, is it fine? How are you guys doing? You guys are doing just fine. We did almost lose a laser turret, which is not ideal, but we are researching improved damage so that hopefully we can fend those attacks off better. Alright, so this is a solid setup that can take 4 inputs and just make a factory off of it. It's pretty big, which maybe isn't ideal. How big is this anyways? It's like, yeah, it's like the size of my entire systems previously, which might be concerning, but we did have space problems with those. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to move this train line out of the way. Alright, so yeah, we break that, and they're not going to be happy that they don't have a train line for now, but we are going to be rebuilding it soon. So that goes back to there. Got to do the same one for these guys. Alright, so you just need to sort of go around there, and then around there. Then you come down to there, and around there. Then we need to get these train lines linked up, which we can do. Okay, not quite. We need more space for the curves. But that should be plenty, as should that. There we go, all set up. We did lose a wall somewhere. but that's fine, probably. Where is it? Off over here. Okay, that is a little spooky. Let's get another laser turret in. And we need to extend that to cover... We need these walls to link up. So let's get all of those in. And then get some light turret coverage out here, which will also serve to reinforce the main line of attack. Alright, so that is that. And we have this guy in now. So let us blueprint you. Okay, we need to go a little bit further over this way to get all of it. And yeah, let's have both drone ports in. Why not? I might as well get that one power line up there, which I think is powering the drone port. So this is going to be Mega... No, we don't need to call it Mega. This is Train Unloader. Sure, that's a good, convenient, quick name for it. And we are going to put that in there. We also have our T-junction blueprint, which we might need to use soon. Renegade, hello. We are trying to go from the tiny little sad factory we have to a properly giant one, and that involves giant train stuff here. So let's then think about how we are going to be connecting these across. So we have them linking down to this. Oh wait, I never finished off the bulk inserters. That's unfortunate. I'm going to need a restock of those. And they are arriving, so I'm going to have to rebuild that blueprint with all the bulk inserters that it uses. Alright, so here we go. All the drones are showing up now. Accumulator charge is actually getting real dicey right now. Like, that bottom zone there is very low, which means we need more power. So let's run down and do that next. We can just real quick place an extra solar grid. So down we go. And actually, I don't think we even need to go down there, do we? We should be able to... I never named this blueprint. We should be able to do this remotely. Alright, let's just get another two of you guys in. And I wonder if we have enough capacitors and everything to actually build all that. So far, doesn't seem to be an issue. Although they haven't placed the drone ports in to register the bottom half of that. Now, how are we going as far as power spiking up? Are we going to be able to fill all of this? Who knows? But we are getting more stuff built. And the drones are coming down. So hopefully they will get all that sorted. Although they currently need to be a bit better organized to actually get them to fit. There we go. Now, why are those middle ones not receiving power? Where are they supposed to be powered from? Oh, from these. Got it. Alright, that's fine then. Alright, so that's some additional solar power placed. The drones are working hard, but we've gotten enough of them for now. Alright, so let's finish this off. We need to get all of these to be bulk inserters. And there we go. So we get all these guys in. And almost there. Alright, so that's done, and that's a whole lot of bulk inserters. How fast is our production of that? And how much can we store? Check over here. We have one machine which is short on ingredients. What ingredient is it short on? Okay, somehow we got something weird on the belt there. Don't know how that happened, but we're gonna have to run over and fix it. So somehow we've got tier 1 splitters on our green circuit belt. So let's run over and investigate. And we're also going to have to probably just increase both the amount that the storage chest will hold and the speed of production. Alright, so the drones are working hard, making the solar power go up. Okay, now where was this? Bulk inserters were up here. I'm walking into a pipe, because of course I am. Alright, so does this underground belt go anywhere? No, it doesn't. Okay, so this is the problem here. This needed to go one row shorter when I built it. I don't know how that managed to take until now to happen and be a problem. So that is all good. And okay, this actually theoretically makes them very, very quickly. Yeah, so it's having problems because the long belts can't grab stuff fast enough. So let's just make this be able to store like 5 stacks instead of like 1 or 2. And now we've pushed the problem back to green circuit problems again, which I guess is fine. Do we have assembly machine 3s? We do. So congratulations, you are assembly machine 3s. Because it looks like we're having a wire problem. When are we not having a wire problem? Alright, so then you get to also be assembly machine 3s. As do you, I guess. Alright, so our wire production is now up and running much faster than it was. How exactly is this going? So you need speed modules and assembler Mark IIs. So speed modules are going on up here, where we have just one single thing making them. We could probably... Let's see, are these limited by red circuits? Doesn't look like it. Or, yes, they are, but not hugely, I guess. It's tough to say, but we need more red circuits, which means we need more green circuits. So this all just screams we need to get the new setup going properly. how did this get built? That's all finished already? Cool. And the power grid is doing better now. I might have to continue expanding that already, because it's better, but it's not great. Although, what is our solar panel and capacitor storage going? We've got 100 of those, and solar panels are, I think they're like up here somewhere. Let's see if I can zoom out and see them. Yeah, here the solar panels are, we've got like 80 of those. Alright, that's probably not enough to do another expansion. I think our blueprint needs like 200 or something of each, like something crazy like that. Alright, so we need to head over here and get some of these guys actually set up and built. So, this is... Does this fit with the T-junction blueprint that I made? So if I just rotate you, that goes on there. Alright, so that's good. So what I think we're going to have is we're going to have like a main train loop and these guys connected off of it. So let's leave this sort of testing area and find where we want to actually build this. There's a lot of water up there, which I am not happy about. So I think we should probably build off to the west, or I guess the south, but I think that's where our solar panels are going. So yeah, let's try to build off to the west and start setting this up. So when we have these, we're going to need probably like 1,000 times more iron. And we're also going to need to get our train system connected up to the resource nodes to come over here. But laser weapon damage 4, almost done. 99%, and there we go, 100%. So, what else do we badly need? Well, one thing that we really are going to need at some point is cliff explosives, but those require some weird type of science that I don't know how to get yet. Metallurgic science pack. Okay. I guess that means it's time to unlock space platform thrusters. So let's queue that up. Now, if we go over here and we build this guy, and we're going to want to build it with enough space that we can do some train stuff off to the right of it. Actually, let's build it up this way. Oh, and we didn't get the entire thing in. That's awkward. We missed the furthest right row. Alright, well let's just get you placed. And then I guess we can fix that just over here. So you connect up to that, you connect up to that, and we are going to re-blueprint this. Although now we have a random power line going through, which actually is fine because we do need power lines everywhere, but we should be able to just get most of this stuff out of the blueprint. You still do need power lines in there, but something like that. So this is train unloader, create, and Alright, so we can get rid of that one and place that one in. So that is nice. And then we need to connect this up with drone ports. So you just go back to there somehow. And then we get the power connected across. And once that power line gets placed, this can all get built properly. We are 165 red belts short of building this. Alright, that's probably because we're using a lot of them to make blue belts at the moment. Is this still going? No, so that has filled up. But we are gonna need to have a lot bigger stockpiles of those if we want to do this. And we're probably gonna need to upgrade that as well. Alright, so the drones are going along. The red belts are getting built relatively quickly, but it will take a while for this to finish. And unfortunately, so this is one of the problems, is that this is way too... It has way too much for what we need it for at the moment, which makes it very inefficient. I don't know why all those drones are going back that way. Surely they should be placing belts into there. Who knows? Alright, so this is getting built up. It probably does ultimately need more drone ports in this area. But as this is getting built, we can run up here, and I guess my own personal drones can do some stuff as well. That'll accelerate it a little bit. And we need you to be an iron destination. And we need you to be an iron destination. So those are set up so that these first two rows, which are these left two belts in these batches of 4, are going to be carrying iron once we get this connected up to the train network. So with that, we can then set up a giant furnace array up here, which, let's see here, it's you, and right, it's just this left one, I think, is the one that we have to deal with. So that goes up, and then we have our 4 belts of what will eventually be iron ore. Then we actually need to figure out how to get train outputs onto this, which I guess I should have thought about that. But for now, let's just get, I don't know, massive overkill. So we want this one place to be able to just smelt all of the iron we could ever use. It would be nice if we had automated beacons to do this. And how hard is that going to be? Probably not that hard. Yeah, let's just set up beacon automation because we can. And apparently this power doesn't connect across either, so we're going to have to do that. Alright, So now all those guys are powered up. Let's get beacons automated. And my goal is to have iron smelting to an absolutely unreasonable extent. So we want you to make beacons, and you get a requester chest, which imports and then outports to a passive provider chest. Then you all get powered up. So we need steel, wire, and both types of circuits. So that is steel, check, wire, check, green circuits, check, red circuits, check. Alright, and then I apparently never put copper cable on the drone system. So let's head over and change that. So you get, just like randomly here, a passive provider chest, which we're going to fill up with a lot of wire, but not an insane amount of wire. So there we go. That should do that. And now we can get beacons. Don't know how expensive they are. Not hugely. They're not cheap. So let's limit those down to there. And now this can just go. And this is still permanently short on speed modules, which means it needs red circuits, which there's not much we can do. We just need a lot of red circuits for absolutely everything. And that's not going to change. The only way to fix that is to get this gigantic system going. Alright, so now we have beacons. Let's set those into the list of things we want to have some of at any given moment. And then the drones are going to bring the couple in that box over to here. Alright, so now I need to figure out how much of this I need. So you are going to go up this way, and this can just go up as far as it needs to go. And we can't like set recipes for these manually, right? We need to... This is so annoying because I don't get to check the speed demand of it to make sure that we have enough. I have to like manually import some iron ore and put it in to see, which is not convenient. But we can do that. Why have you turned around? Alright, I think we need just more drone coverage up here. Okay, biters, thank you. Thank you for showing up. That's what I wanted to have happen right now, definitely. Alright. So we are definitely in an area where biters want to attack me at the moment. So let's get that drone port powered. And alright, now we have that. We have our iron, so we can throw it in and refresh ourselves on the speed of these guys. So, and actually what we want to check is if we have like this beacon set up here. You are productivity moduled. And did I ever make module Mark IIs? Like, that would have been up here if I did it at all, right? Yes, I do have a decent chunk of module Mark IIs. So let's swap these up to the Mark II variants. Like so. And we do want this to be limited as well, so I don't get a huge amount stuck in my inventory. And in the meantime, I can just craft up a couple. So we take those out. The modules are going to... The beacons are going to be doing speed modules. And this crafting is not especially quick. I just wanted to craft up a couple of those so that I could place them in and see what the speeds are going to be like. Alright, here they come. Yeah, we got delivered from the other side of the factory before we even crafted a single one manually. That's funny. Alright, so that is going. Now you are going to be productivity modules. And then to give you a recipe, you are 0.5 ore per second. So if those are 0.5 ore per second, wait, no, you need to also be sped up. So now, do these need to be powered to have the effect calculate? Yes, they do. So now this is 1.29 per second, which means that we need... How many is... These are belt speed of 30, so we need like 20... What, 25 or 26 of these in order to fill up the entire belt. And the ones on the end are going to be slower. So let's do that. If we just copy paste you up and just keep doing that so that every other one is a furnace and then a beacon. So this is how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It is quite a bit. So that would be 7 times 1.4. So this is like half of a belt-ish, a little less than half of a belt of resource mining. So we need this to just go pretty far. So let's actually just get this entirely set up so that we can copy paste it all at once. So you are going to be taking from that belt and outputting to... How long can these... These guys can do like 2 per second, so they should be fine. So we just have like that, and then power lines like that. And that should have that all covered. And then this belt goes along like there. Alright, so if we now duplicate this up, then we will get all of the extra stuff in, And okay, why are you overwriting stuff there? Oh, is there just... No, that was intentional. Oh, this isn't symmetrical. Alright, that's annoying. We're gonna have to change that. So you need to all be the same. So the power line should be on the bottom for all of them. Like that, and like that. Okay, and if we take that out, then these are still close enough to connect, so we're fine there. So this should be able to easily tile all the way. And we apparently need to get one more belt into the copy-paste. So we're going to have to take that out, send it like that, send you down like that. And then if we copy-paste this entire thing, then it should work. And then we can just get that in. And then just keep on placing them. Alright, now here we need them to line up better. I don't know why they're not. So just go like that. And then we just... Okay, is that just because we only have 3 copy-pasted right now? I think we can... Now we can copy-paste like this entire thing. And just get you all sorted up like so. And that's actually... No, we can't do that. Because that has 2 furnaces next to each other, so we need them to be overlapped like this, so that we keep our nice alternating pattern. Alright, now all this stuff gets built up. Space platform thrusters research still going without issues. Alright, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 of these guys. And they are each going at 1.4 output per second. So 13 times 14. Well, 13 times 1.4 is... what, like 20-ish? Alright. So we do need to make sure that this outputs to both sides of the output belt. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this one would be outputting 14.4. So we need to do the old twisteroo here, like that. And then we need even more of these guys. Although probably not that many more. So this would add 4 extras. This one would add 5 extras. Now let's just go a whole extra thing, because it'll be fun. And I guess at some point we'll have to unlock the tier 3 modules and make this upgraded, but that can be a job for the future. And this should be, I think, just shy of a full belt. I think we're going to be at like 28 or something like that. Which once we get higher tier modules in the beacons, we'll reach the full belt, and then we'll have to work stuff out from there. Alright, so now it's output time. So what we can do for the output is... Oh, I never got the upgraded bulk inserters into this blueprint. Whoops. So what we can do for the output for this is we can just put them into the other side of this. So if we have these first two trains, that's these two going into this output, then the second two trains can just be reversed. So let's see how that works. We have to reverse all of these. And did I do that correctly? No, you need to be pointing down that way. Then you go like this. And like this. Alright, reversing these is kind of a huge annoyance, actually. So let's do it like that. And then get these guys reversed around as well. And what is this over here? Oh, that's just the next line entirely. It's unrelated. Okay, then we have to do this 2 more times. And we're definitely saving this as a blueprint, because it's going to be super annoying to have to do this every time we need an output. So we go like this. And like this. And like that. Then we get those and reverse that one, I think. Alright, so this does like most of this train being reversed. And then we need you to be reversed, and then we just have to get these ones. Alright, so you go like that. You go around like that. And why can't I just get this reversed correctly? Let's just do this manual placing for these straightaways, because that's easier. And then these ones go like that. You still need to be reversed properly. Alright, I think that is functional. I think. So now, if we just have this belt go around here, and this has to sneak underground temporarily, then this goes down to there, and let's move that drone port just a little bit to be out of the way. Alright, so that works for those two at least. And now we are going to set these as, give you an image first, iron plate source. And you get to also be iron plate source. And you all need to have train limits of 1. Because that's just how this works. And you as well. Alright. So this should be good if we can get the iron in. So let's find out how we do that. So this train track down here, I think we want that to go into a T-junction so that our trains have the option of not going into it if they don't want to. And let's get rid of some of that stuff so that these are smooth tracks. And then this T-junction gets built with all the signaling included. Now this whole input thing is just one giant block, but that's probably okay. It's probably okay. Alright, let's hope that it's fine. So now we have this, which we need to go over here and then go over here, and then we need you to loop back around to there so that you can turn around if you need to. And that is going to go straight through some of that stuff, which is fine. Alright, so that is all set up. Now, we just need to find... Are these two track networks connected in any way? No, they are not. We're going to need to change that. So we can just, like, have a link across that gap, for example. Or just maybe in there. Although, no, I don't think that would be a good idea. Alright, anyways, we then need another T-junction, just like directly opposite of the first. And does this actually work? Can you just build these blueprints like this? Will it cause problems? I think it will, because there's going to be multiple signals all right next to each other if we do that. So what we need is we need to just make a cross-junction blueprint. So those two lines are going to go across. And then they need to extend a little bit further down so that they can connect up to here properly, like that, I guess. And then you have to connect down to there. And let's see, is that all we need to do to add that? I feel like I'm missing something. Oh yes, I am missing something. So you need to also connect. You're going up there, and then you need to also be able to go up here. So you connect up like that, and likewise you can connect down like that. And now we have a four-way junction blueprint, which, oh, I need to get the train signals on this. So this goes into the intersection, this goes out of the intersection. And then we can just get all of this. No, not including the curved bits at the top. We don't want those. Place it. Dragging these blueprints is always so annoying. Getting like exactly the right thing. So maybe if we just go like up by that rock, then down to there. Alright, that should be good. So this is a 4-way junction. Create the blueprint, and that is that. Alright, so now this can just come down over to this way. And this is going to be the connection into the resource extraction side of things. So we need to just run down here and get all this stuff built up. And apparently we are low on train tracks. So let's hop into the factory and get a resupply. Wait for our drones to catch up first. There we go. Don't want those guys getting stranded in the middle of nowhere. Alright, where is this resupply going to be coming from? Head up here. There it is. A whole bunch of train tracks. And probably some other stuff too. Still short on some things, but we are getting there. Alright, none of the stuff we are currently missing is urgent, so I'm going to head back out. Actually, I just realized that this whole thing is like in a biter-infested area and completely undefended. Before I go halfway across the map, I should run up here and place some laser turrets down to protect these machines. Currently, they probably wouldn't do much because they're not causing pollution, but they probably will any second now. Alright, we have unlocked that. What do we actually want right now? Mining productivity 2, I guess, would be helpful. Alright, so let's bring this power line out to here, and then up a little bit. Okay, so we can put a wall, and then... Actually, I want these to be nice and consistently spaced. So let's have this whole area covered with power lines. And get one extra wall there so that that all lines up. And then we just put one... Probably only need one laser turret per power line, honestly. Alright, so now we can... Actually, let's just blueprint this. So this is laser wall. Alright, so now we can just drag this up. And... that should keep us mostly clear. Okay, and then there's actually a biter nest right in this exact spot. So we're going to have to extend the wall into this valley and then a little bit past. They are definitely going to do some weird shenanigans and go all the way around. There's actually iron right there. That's funny. It's only 1.2. It's not probably big enough to be worth grabbing at this very moment. Alright. These biters are definitely going to try something like the exact instant this gets powered on, these biters are going to just launch constant attacks, so I'd better just deal with them first. So let's just go up through this valley. And I want a gate in here. Alright, so now I can retreat behind the wall if things go bad. Alright, is that close enough to them to attack? Not really. So we're going to have to go a little bit closer. And... Alright, that gets built. And then we spam a whole bunch of laser turrets in. And then we try to stay close enough to do repairs while not getting completely obliterated by the biters. Alright, so now we have to move closer up because these are longer ranged. And now we should have range on everything in the nest. And we lost a lot of drones keeping those laser turrets up and functional, but it was worth it. Alright, that biter nest gone. We can now deconstruct those turrets. And there's another one that's farther off, so that's fine. We're not going to deal with them at this exact moment. I will, however, put a radar out here, just so that we can get scanning, and hopefully that will be mildly convenient. Alright, so that, hopefully that laser wall will keep this area defended. If not, that'll just be too bad. Let's let this drone catch up. It's gonna fall behind otherwise. There we go. They are doing something. And we are getting our resupply, which is nice. You're a bit low on power poles. And apparently that wave didn't carry any power poles. At least we have repair packs and stuff. Here come the power poles over here. And of course they are stopping at some random place first. Alright. Repairs and resupplies are showing up. Alright, I don't think I need these walls for what I'm doing here, so let's just head on down and get back to building this train line. So we don't really need much other than trains, and I guess the occasional signal would be important for this. We're probably going to need more than that, but having some will be helpful. Alright, we want you to not be all weird and crooked. Just go straight. Like that. And then you can follow it down. There, we have to click on it like that. And down you go. Alright, so we need to get this train line connected up to this train line. And then get this connected up to the other one. And then once we do all that, then we'll be able to get iron here. So let's make these underground pipes so that we have some space to get through. So we just have like that. And then these connect up to them. Like that. And then we have a T-junction here, which isn't quite correct. Of course it isn't. Alright, so we are going to have the T-junction in there, and then we're just going to have to shift this ever so slightly over to make it work. It's way easier to do that than it would be to try to get the rest of this all fiddly and set up right. Alright, so you then need to go further back. And you go in there. Okay, then this is going to be the tricky bit, because we're a bit low on space here. But we need something like that to happen, which means we need to take that power line out and then go around a bit. I don't know, have you go like down there or something. And that is all powered up again, so that's cool. So this needs to turn as sharply as it can, which is like that. And then, okay, apparently we do need to do something fancy to not run out of space here. Alright, this is insane, but we're going to go out back that way, and then around down this way, and then in there. Alright, we got it to work, and once all this stuff gets built, that alert should go away. So the building is not happening especially quickly, thanks to drones just deciding to be inconvenient. But it should get there eventually, and then in the meantime I'm going to just run over here and do something else. Alright, so we are going up here. How's the power grid going? Power grid looks totally fine. Not even close to a problem. Alright, so here we would want to do a couple of T-junctions, but they're diagonal this time, which means we are going to have to just do this manually. Alright, this whole place is crooked, and I kind of hate it. But if we just do something like that, and then you go over to there. Please line up normally, thank you. And then you go a little bit forwards, and you curve down to there. Alright, then we have signals, so let's see, this goes out there. Then this one would be going into the junction. And then we go down here. You already have a signal there, but you need to be a chain signal. And then we need a chain signal up there, and a regular signal there. Alright. Horrible diagonal T-junction done. We have, I think, another one of those to build, unfortunately, wherever this winds up going to. Alright, please don't be crooked and awful. Alright, we are low on... Oh, this one is crooked. We are low on tracks, which is not ideal. Fortunately, we are pretty close to the factory, so we can run back and wait for these drones to catch up, because it's going to take them forever otherwise. Alright, now we run back up here to get our resupply. Where are the train tracks? They should be somewhere around this general vicinity, and here they come. Okay, relatively small amount to start with, but they should be making their way here pretty quick. And what else do we have? We have like one signal. And, alright, we are back up to 300 tracks. Okay, we lost a gun turret. That's bad. That's bad. Where did that happen? Here? Alright. I have so many questions. How did you get there? Like, how did that ever happen? Alright, let's take those gun turrets out. Replace them with a couple of laser turrets each. And then where the... They must have, like, come from there all the way up along this pipe. That's just incomprehensible to me. It makes no sense at all. Alright, but I guess we should have, I don't know, maybe we put a couple lasers there, they'll find them. Alright, so I have no idea what those guys are doing. This got built, but the train is still lost. I don't understand why that would be. Okay, so you should be able to go around there, then through that little gap, then down, around, into the station. So why are you lost? We're gonna have to go and find out. I guess we just take the path manually and see what breaks. Alright, I have to actually set the train to manual mode. And actually, let's first just see if setting it back to automatic. No, it definitely just doesn't know how to get there. Alright, don't turn that way. That would be dumb and pointless. We need you to go this way. And there we go. We are on the correct path. Alright, so now we have to go this way and around here. Alright, you are definitely 100% able to make it here. Like, I literally just did that, and it was easy. And now you're physically here, and you still can't figure out how to get here. I can't help you. Like, you were literally in the station. Hello? Inaccessible from current position. Alright, well, what if I get in and set you to manual? I move you back a little bit, like to there or something, and then set you to automatic. So you can figure out this last little bit. So maybe this cross bit, which doesn't need to exist, is confusing you. So if we just set that up like so. Okay, is it... That's a weird little thing which doesn't need to exist. The rest of this is all good. Everything here works. So I don't know why. Maybe there's a signaling problem? Maybe there's a signaling problem of some kind, but that shouldn't be. Wait, why is this saying it wants to go up this way? Is this whole thing backwards? Yeah, oh, okay. So that's what happened. This thing isn't set up in the same way as this. So the signals are all on the wrong side and everything. Alright, is that... There's also this train which goes on here. So yeah, they want to go along this way. Alright, how do I fix that? Can I just like very awkwardly, if I just like do something weird like this. So you connect down to there, and you connect up to there. So we just like this is why dealing with poorly designed train systems and trying to incorporate them into non-poorly designed train systems is the worst. Alright, so if we do that, then... Okay, this chain signal does need to exist. Yeah, that's fine. Alright. So... then we just need to do the same thing on this side. Alright. So we just have to take you back. Have you do the old switcheroo. And... Alright. We're probably going to have to do some more signaling stuff to get that to work, but it should be fine, probably. Oh, I didn't mean to dismantle both of those. Alright, signaling-wise, this whole area here is one giant signal, which I don't love. Let's just get you in. Okay, no, I know what needs to happen. These signals need to go back before the old switcheroo, so that we don't have things crossing over and causing problems there. And this is just very awkward. So you also need to be before the old switcheroo. And actually, this turnaround spot, I think... Let's see, is it even necessary now? Because now we have the ability to go up here and turn around there. Okay, so I think this turnaround spot doesn't need to exist anymore. I think it's functional without it. I'm looking at the map view and it's going to be easier to just do this. Alright, so this was pretty cursed. So we can take those out, and then you get a chain signal there and a block signal there, and then we're all fixed, and let's just try not to think about that ever again. Let's just pretend that that isn't a part of this train system. Okay. So that should be functional now. I don't know if the oil stuff will work, but it theoretically should. So are you filling up or are you draining? I can't tell. Oh, you're draining. That's fine. Alright, so now we have to go over here and we have to apparently pay attention to which side things are on. So that... Alright, this we have correct. Thank goodness. Although I don't know if it's going to line up with what we did up here. So let's get pretty close out to this general area. And we've somehow managed to find like the most annoying part of the tracks to have to connect this T-junction into. Alright. So, we need you to connect around to there. And we need you to connect around to there. And yeah, I think this is another incredibly nightmarish setup. So this is the one that goes in, so that's a chain signal. This is a... No, why are both of these going in? Does this just not have a direction assigned to it? Yeah, how did that happen? There's supposed to be signals down here to make sure that this is one way. Alright, so you go out that way, go out that way. Yeah, okay. I don't know why that worked out that way, but let's just put an extra set of block signals in there just to have them. And then this goes out to there. It also needs to go out... Wait, no, this is... There's no way this is right? Yeah, this is wrong. Alright, cool. You actually need to connect along to here, which we can apparently do. Now, is this right? How is this correct? So that goes into that side. This goes out to that side. All right, I think we're gonna... I think we've gotten this right somehow. We just need to get this connection in somewhere where it isn't hideous. And it's just getting worse as we go. Alright, what if we try starting like back here or something? Does that help at all? No. Okay, what if we let it overwrite stuff? Can you get in anywhere? No, this is the worst. This is why I... Alright, you can just do that. That's acceptable. It's pretty... It's not great, but it's... Compared to the other options, it's fine, I guess. Alright, so we need this to have a chain signal and this to have a block signal. And then we need you to have a block signal and you to have a chain signal. Alright, so I still need one more connection. I need this one to go over to there. And so you aren't going to cooperate like that, so we just have to go back a little ways. You do that. Alright, so that means that you need to be back there. And all the rest of this is fine, probably. It's horrible and crooked and gross, but it kind of does look like a twisted form of a T-junction. So we're going to go with that. Okay, now that that's all connected up, if we go over here, then... Okay, I just can't tell. So weird stuff is happening up in this area. So you are waiting, and that's just because we have too much iron. Okay, so you are waiting. Actually, no, there's a little red line. Oh, I see. This is the problem. You need some of those. And actually, we might be able to just run up there and do that ourselves. Up we go. And, alright, so we've got these two signals. You need a signal there. And you need a, probably should be as far back as possible. Alright, so that is all set up. Now you can get loaded. And now you have gone as far forwards as you can to this guy, which actually we need to enable train limit 1 for now that that's an issue. And we need to do that for all of these, I think. Alright, so this iron patch down here hasn't gotten any use because I guess they've all just been going and waiting up there. Wonderful. Alright, can you just move on so that this whole cycle can advance a little bit? Alright, so you are out of there. Now you are going to go down here to load up. And do we even have... Yes, we do have bulk inserters down there, so it should be a pretty quick load. And speaking of ways of bypassing the station, this is not far enough away for me to give it separate signals. Although I can, I think, give you separate signals, and then that should be okay. And then we also like desperately need a couple of signals just along this line, just anywhere. So we can just have something like that, and that should be good enough. I think we want some signals in there as well. And this is not the best signaling in the world, but it's like fine probably. Just add in a couple extra in there. Alright. So now that that is all set up, ideally we will see a train headed... Yeah, okay, so you are going somewhere. So you and you, actually, you're both headed over this way. And you seem to be making your way through. You seem to be making your way through, although I don't like that... Why did you do that? Did I mess this up? Yeah, you should have been able to... Am I missing an output? No, I don't think I am. They should have been able to not use that loop, which could conceivably cause all sorts of problems. Alright, so these guys are doing their thing, unloading there, and then the iron plates are getting produced. Very cool. Alright, that's a biter's nest that is literally like 5 feet away from everything. I need to run over and get rid of that biter's nest before it causes all sorts of problems. Alright, so let's run on over and get that sorted out. Alright, off we go. It's going to take a big old journey to make it there. But we do have all of our defense-related things. So over we go. Alright, so now we're here, and so this is going to actually have a problem because we're delivering 4 cars worth, but we're only using the first. And also these need to be bulk inserters. Just get those guys in there. I could have sworn I had copy-pasted that fix into our blueprint by this point, but it seems not. We are probably going to be using this as a new blueprint version, so we can get the fix in then. So let's just have all of these be bulk inserters. And so these guys are successfully just going to be backlogging this entire system, which is fine for now. So what we want for the short term would be to just merge all these guys up into one so that they can just all go in on this one belt. So if we... No, not that side. We need you to be on that side. Actually, wait. Which side do we want? I think we do want you to be on that side, actually, and then you go on that side. So this belt of iron ore, take you back, bring you up to there, and we take you... No, just get rid of that drone port and move it again. Poor drone port is constantly getting nudged around. So you two merge up. Then you can come around. And now this can go in like that. Alright, mining capacity was unlocked. Let's see, which one of these gave us eventually cliff explosives? Was it this one? Yes, and artillery, and all sorts of other stuff. Alright, let's start researching planet discovery. That will be a good, fun little time. And then, what I want in the meantime... Ice melting. I guess that's handy for something, probably. And then thruster fuel, thruster oxidizer, which we're going to need to do to launch the space platforms to somewhere else. Alright, what I need to be doing in the meantime is getting another one of you crafted. And then a whole bunch of cargo wagons. So you and you go in. And you are going to be the start of our iron train system. And we need more cargo wagons, because of course we do. Alright, so all of those resources show up. Oh, I need to get train refuelers into all of these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. Easy. Little bit of extra power lines, but that's not going to hurt anyone. Let's craft up 2 more of those. And plop them in. Alright, so now if we just rotate the inserters around to output like this, then we should start filling up with iron plates. which we will then be able to send off to the next thing. And in the meantime, this will be good for just getting the trains fueled up. Alright, we need to expand this, I think, just to have it be fully functional, but we're about to get attacked. Yeah, they are literally right there. Okay, so step one is expand the laser wall to cover this whole area. And I sure hope that they don't decide to attack before it all gets set up. Alright, so this is now somewhat defended. Let's get that connected across. Alright, so that's all defended. Now we just need to... Alright, we could probably use having this go a little bit further down just for security's sake, so that they don't try to go around us or anything. And then we're going to have to push out and deal with them, because that is just way, way too close. Like 1,000 times too close, really. Alright, so we have a wall. We are secure for the short term. Let's build up a gate and plop that in so we can go through it. And then, actually, can we set up a very basic blueprint just for getting this stuff in faster and more efficiently? The old turret box blueprint. This probably doesn't even need to be a blueprint. We're just going to copy that, and we're going to step outside of our gate. We're going to branch power forwards, and then we're going to just paste that in and hide behind the gate. Alright, so those got powered up, but they aren't quite far enough forward, so let's just build that, and someone get that power line in. There we go. Alright, the furthest hive isn't in range, but all of those worms are. So we can now just push forwards a little bit, and there we go. Alright, that is that dealt with. Now let's take all this apart. Except for, I guess, the random power poles, which I don't care enough about. Alright, mission accomplished. So we should be relatively secure now. Let's take those drones out. And this whole system seems to be functioning just fine until we run out of iron ore. So let's make the smelting even faster. Let's make the smelting even faster. So we want to copy you and all the way up to here. And actually, this needs to be slightly larger on this side to account for the weird little flip thing to get it all on different sides of the belt. There's got to be a way of doing that in line somehow. I wonder if the ore will reach all the way up. Not as it is currently. Currently, this is really more future-proofing than anything. I think if we could get the ore to go up on both sides of the belt, then it would. Otherwise, it's only going to get a little more than halfway. Alright, so this then can go up like there. And alright, so now we have all this. We need... Okay, instead of you being a merger, I think we actually want you to be like that, because that lets us get it on both sides of the belt, which is better. So we can do that for all of these. And there. Alright, so that is that. And then we just need... Let's see, so this row can merge from these first two, and then this second row can merge up to there, and then eventually we're going to add 2 more rows to load up the entire thing. So this has to go around and under, and then down into there, I think. Is that right? Does that work? This is not reversed properly. Now it is. And that is the second row of outputs established. And, oh, I need to... No, I did, right? Yeah, I did. Okay. So I just need to run up here and get all this stuff built. And then I need to figure out how I'm getting all these plates to do anything useful instead of just sitting here and taking up all of my ore and resources. So let's also get... Let's see here. How far up do we need to go to get drone coverage? We have to go like there. And then a little bit further, I guess. We're missing speed modules still, but I have some in my personal inventory. That is going to be enough to craft all this. Alright, so this is now all good. Apparently there was a giant rock there, because of course there was. And now all the rest of that stuff is just getting built by some drones somewhere. So let's get another drone port up there, just for convenience's sake. Alright, so that is 2 of those guys set up. That's not quite 2 full belts of iron ore output. And these ones need to do the same thing where they merge up. Wait, no. This is just because the places where we have ore left are weird and inconsistent. So we have ore left there, and that's just going to be stuck like that because these ones are filled. And then we have ore left in here, which is only one side. Alright, that's fine. I don't care enough to fix that, probably. Although, I'm probably going to need... No, this iron looks like it's still going okay with whatever is left after I pulled these trains over here to do this. Alright, so this should be fine. Should be all good. The only problem is that because the outputs aren't aligned properly, we might get situations where, like with this train, where this one isn't emptying, so the whole train is sitting here, despite the fact that these ones arguably need more. So that is a problem that I'm going to need to fix somehow. And I don't... It's not quite obvious immediately exactly how to do that. I have to think about that. So that train is leaving, and it's going to come back with more iron ore. This train is just stuck here waiting forever. I guess this won't be a problem in the future because I'm going to be using data cables to control how much everything gets. So the trains will be leaving after like designated amounts of time anyways. So that shouldn't be too much of an issue, I think. I don't know. I'm going to have to think, because the data cable system is probably going to need me to rework this as well. Alright, planet discovery, science research still going. That's good. And for now, let's add a 120-second limit. Alright, so you want to leave, but the signals are wrong? Why are you giving the sleepy thing? So there should be plenty of signals for you to get out of here. And you say you're wanting to go towards an iron source. Alright, so this whole big area is all purple. You should be able to at least get out into here, right? So I don't know why you're sitting there idle. Oh, is it because all of the iron sources are full? That's probably why. We only have like 2 iron sources right now. Alright, so you are off. And let's see actually how you make this trip. Let's see if you do anything weird. No, you just go directly through there. And then up there. Yeah, so that all looks exactly how I want it to look. Now you are here to load up. And then the other one hasn't returned over here. It's doing something? Yeah, okay. Why are you going up there and doing that whole system instead of just going down and over this way? I need to go over there and investigate that because it's definitely wrong and is probably a serious problem. Because we would need to wait for that like 1 copper train to leave, which fortunately both times it has pretty promptly, but there's no reason to expect it to do that. So we need to just like go over here and investigate that intersection and see what's wrong with it. I think I must just be missing a connection. Or some belts aren't attached right. Okay, this entire area is not blocked off, right? We have trains going through there all the time with no problem. So if you're here and you want to go over this way, you should be able to just do that. Oh, is it up here that there's the problem? I bet this is where the problem is. Somehow. So if you're... because they've been here going up and around that way instead of just going down this way. So let's see here. This chain signal wants you to be able to get down through there and over that way. Alright, let's craft up a train and see if it works. Let's craft up a train and see if we can make this trip naturally. Alright, so we are here. We have some fuel. And we want to go this way. So we can go down to there. Or we can go over this way. That seems possible. Oh boy, I'm about to get hit, I think. I need to get somewhere out of the way. It seems like taking this route should be completely doable. And thus it's like specifically that one curve which is impossible. I did mess that curve up while doing this. So, okay, we need to take... Okay, thank you for that. Alright, we need to, like, get out of the way of this guy. Alright, so you are stuck here, and you want to go along this way, despite the fact that you could go up this way. So that's the problem. So I think it is correct that this, from there to there, that switch is impossible. Alright, let's see here. So if we disconnect you and... Okay, so now you've just given up and gone the other way. That's not what I want. Yeah, so you are going to cause a problem trying to do that. So what if you just connect across, like, to there? And, oh, I didn't mean to disable some stuff. Alright, there we go. So, now, let's get up to this train, hop in, set you to manual, and reverse back this way. So this is where you were previously, and set you to automatic. So now you can just easily go along that way. And I think we're fine. Cyan, hello. We are trying to get our fancy new system set up, and it's a struggle because it's very complicated and is also needs to interact with a very janky, not well-designed old system that I threw together in about 5 minutes a couple streams ago. So we are constantly bug-fixing weird train problems. Yep, so the plan is to go up here, and we need to like use the data system to get it to fully function, which I haven't managed to get around yet. Alright, so we go up here. So we have this gigantic thing which is all going to be processing ore. Teresia, it's because you kind of look like you're trying to sell me something, and sorry if you aren't, but that's why I've been ignoring you up till now. Your last couple statements make that less likely, so I'll stop ignoring you. Alright, so there we go. So the plan is we have multiple trains carrying input to each station, so we can have like a constant supply to these, where previously we only had like one iron ore supply. so we had 1 iron ore supply in our previous save, which meant that like when this train would leave, we'd have to like have buffer chests, and it would be very annoying. Game's mostly about the trains. It depends on how you choose to play the game. I personally use a whole lot of trains. I know there are people who hardly ever use them. But yeah, I personally tend to spend a lot of time fiddling with trains. Alright, so now this should be all good. Yeah, if the distance is far enough, you would like a train for it. Personally, I like trains because they make like many-to-many connections easier. Like you could have a bunch of iron ore mines feeding a bunch of smelters and not have any issues. Alright, so this is where the data cable system would theoretically come in. So we wouldn't have all of the trains unloading all at once. What I want to have is have this top train unload for say 2 minutes, and then it stops and leaves, and as soon as it leaves, this bottom train starts unloading and unloads for 2 minutes, and then by the time the bottom train is done, the top train is returned, so we can get like a constant steady flow that way, which we're going to require data cable systems to manage. And then we also need to like make sure to have correct throughput numbers, so that I want to be able to control how much everything gets. Not so much for the iron ore to iron plates, where it doesn't really matter, but for later things, like when you have green circuit input, for example, there are like a billion different things you need green circuits for. And it would be real cool to be able to look at one of those things and say you only get half as many green circuits. But like you can still get some, but only half as many, and in order to distribute the rest of them elsewhere. So that is all going to be the data system stuff. For now, we're just doing iron ore, and we're just feeding it as fast as possible, and it looks like we're just about saturated the front 2 cars of this train, which means it is probably time to get the second 2 cars of the train of this built, although I don't think I have anywhere near enough speed modules for that. And what I actually think is, what if we just take what we have here, get rid of all of that. So this, let's just do the same way we did on the input. So we can just distribute this over to here. And then, so that is feeding the front 2. Now this can feed the back 2. So you go down like that. And then half of you goes into there. Half of you goes into there. And that. So now we should be able to fill up the entire system. So we can get full train cars of iron plates, and we're going to have to wait a little bit for these last bits to catch up, of course. And now we have a bunch of iron plates, which we will be able to use to make a bunch of other things, and then we can expand this in this space up here if we want to add even more to get like 4 full belts going, although I don't know if this can handle 4 full belts in terms of throughput. Alright, so that is basically the first thing in. Now, unfortunately, there are sort of cliffs over here, which is going to mess with my plans, and we do need pretty regular spacing of things to not have to worry about, like, to have this work. So we are like researching the thing which will eventually get us towards cliff explosives. But for now, we are sort of stuck in that sense. Alright, so let's figure out the data cable stuff then. I've put it off long enough. So, first of all, we need to get some sort of combinator. And I have these requested, right? Actually, I have... Okay, I have the basic ones automatically made. I don't have the selectors automatically made, which should be okay. Alright, so let's just see here. We get the train over to there. So now the train is connected to this. So we can read stopped train to get a unique number for each train, which I can't imagine why we would want to do that. We can read train contents and set train limit. And so those are both options. And I think... Let's see here. How do we do this, actually? So, what I want to do is... Hang on. Actually, let's test. If I set your train limit to 0, you're already here, so you're still going to sit here. Alright, you're already here, so you're still just going to sit here. That's annoying. I want to be able... Oh, maybe if I disable the station. Alright, so... Let's see here. If the station gets disabled, then... Nothing. Alright, that doesn't work either. Alright. So, if that's not going to work, then... How do we do this? There should be a way to do something to, like, boot a train out when I don't want it to be there anymore. There's gotta be, I guess... Let's see here. You can't, like, connect the train itself up, right? Right, that would be silly. So these are all the options we have at the train stop. So you can enable and disable it. You can send the contents of the circuit network to the train so they can be used for the wait condition. Ah, so that's what we can do. Okay. So, if we have a train here, say it's you, and you are going to be waiting at the iron plate source, add wait condition, circuit condition is an option. Alright, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to grab you and... Alright, instead of the 120-second thing, we're going to get rid of that. And instead, we're going to give you a circuit condition. And that will be the only thing, probably. So that circuit condition can just be a simple check mark equals 0. So when it's true, then it leaves. All right. Got it. So we set circuit equal to 1. So are both of them set to that? So they should stay here until we have a signal that comes in that says checkmark equals 1. All right, so we just have to wait for them to come back. The fact that they leave and go halfway across the planet is kind of mildly irritating, but whatever. Alright, so you're back. You're doing your thing again. Delivering more iron ore to here. And you should stay here because we have no circuit actually telling you that you can leave. Alright. So, then what we need is we need to get like a timer somehow. How do you make a timer here? You just need to have something that increments every so often. So you can't like read how long the train has been in the station for example. That would be nice, but you can't do it. Unless there's something that I'm missing. You can read how many trains are at the stop, which is useless. You can set priority. Stop train, read train contents. I guess I could, like, do something weird with, like, a belt to get a timer. So, hang on. If I had, like... I don't know, something ridiculous like that. And then I powered it up and I gave you one object. And then there has to be an easier way than to get a timer. There's gotta be. Let's see here. Do any of these things look like timers? There's some custom inputs that signals that show the clock, but that's not what I need. Okay. Let's think. Is this really... how? So we can make this pretty small, I guess. Like, it just has to be... just like a 2x2, right? So we go there, down to there, down to there, up to there. And then we put our singular item on it, which, I don't know, it'll be an iron chest because it's funny. So that's pretty quick. And is that the best way of doing this? So what I need is I need this to just like periodically swap which train is unloading, and I need it to be controlled not necessarily anything to do with the contents of the trains, because I need to be able to like customize it later. So a timer is the idea that I have. And that would... let's see here. So the timer would work if I can figure out just like a way of doing it. And I think it has to be the weird awkward belt stuff. Unless... I don't know. Unless there's some other thing that I'm not thinking of that can give you a timer. Alright. Well, for now, let's just have it be based on the contents of the train, I guess, and then we're going to have to redo it later. But that's okay. So, we have you can read train contents. So your input signal is 4K iron ore. Alright. Chibi Cross, hello, it's going pretty well. We are messing around with data signals, as I frequently find myself doing, and distracting myself from all the other stuff that I could be doing. Alright, so I think what we need is actually pretty simple. So we take the input signal from this train, And if it is just anything is greater than 0, then it'll pass. And then outputs are, let's see, this isn't outputting to anything currently, right? So we have both of those set. How long have you been playing Factorio? This is my second playthrough, and it's my first time with the Space Age DLC. So I generally know what I'm doing, but there's also a lot of stuff that's different. Alright, so network selection is not relevant. Well, I want it to be relevant, so if we just have both of those going off, then okay, wait, so it has to be input count to be able to control which network it sends it to. That's fine. Alright, so if we have something like this, and then the green goes to there, and the red goes to there. I don't know why I'm routing that through this random power pole first, but whatever. It still says green network not connected. But it definitely is, so I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, no, I see now. That's annoying. It's very annoying. Wait, what? Alright, okay, I've done something there. Alright, so that's not what I want. Okay, stop connecting. Stop connecting and disconnecting randomly. Just everything get disconnected so I can figure out what I'm doing here. So, this... No, I need you to undo that. And I need you to... Please. This one you undo. And that one you undo. Alright, so... we have this, and it outputs a check mark if there is stuff in the near train. So if there is stuff in the near train, then we want the far train to be deactivated. So we want it to just sit there. So if we just connect all of these guys up like that and set them to enable disable on checkmark greater than 0, and then we just paste that all the way across. So these are all disabled current. Wait, actually, we want this to be the opposite, right? We want you to only go if checkmark equals 0, actually. Alright, so now the train is in, and it is just doing its thing as usual. I don't even know where all this is even going. I guess we just have a lot of machines with internal buffers to fill up. Alright, anyways, aside from that, we have all these guys which only go if checkmark equals 0 from this. So you then need to come down here and then get connected into those. So now these are all disabled. So this train is here, and while it's here, this other train won't go. Alright, so that is that set up. So we can see that this is going, but the inserters are disabled. So that's what we wanted to have happen. Then we have this top train, which we need it to... Let's see, what do we need to do with this top train? We need to give it a signal when it's time to leave. And that signal probably shouldn't be the green check mark for the sake of not being confusing. Although, actually, that is just what we've set that to. Alright, so how about the signal for the inserters is going to be changed. So you have that. Then you all get that. And then we copy paste all those across. And now these are all disabled by control behavior again, which is what we want them to be. Alright, so this makes it so that this train doesn't unload when this train is here, but will unload when this train is... what? When it's empty? Yeah, when it's completely empty or just missing. And we can actually change that so this is read train count instead of read train contents. So long as this train is here in the station, this train won't leave, right? We have one train, which means that this is greater than 0, which means all of this stuff is deactivated and this train is just sitting here. Alright, so that is that. Then, in order to get this train to leave, it leaves when checkmark equals 1. So we need to get a checkmark equals 1, preferably after a certain amount of time or some other system like that. So if this is running constantly, then we could just do the count based on how much is left in this train. And that would work, but that would probably require a lot of fiddling. Let's just, for now, have it be straightforwards. So we're going to have you. You're going to go in. You are going to read the contents of the train. Yes, so you actually do need to do that. You read train contents. And this one, I think we want to have more control over this. So you're just going to read C. That's fine. Then you are going to just read the iron ore contents. And how do we figure this out? So we want you to be less than some value, which we don't want to be this, 6.2k. So this can handle up to 8,000. And that is fine. So this output would be the green check mark that sends the train away, right? So we just set that. And then this constant number would be based on how frequently we want this to run while it's going. So the higher the number, the more the train will leave. Okay, we just lost a couple of things. We just lost a couple of laser turrets. Is that... Okay, yeah, this this whole area isn't powered up properly. And now they are getting into some other stuff, which... Alright. This is why we can't have nice things. We have to abandon our systems there, which I feel like I'd almost figured out to prevent the destruction of the entire factory by biters. And by the time I get back, I will have almost certainly lost track of what I was doing. Alright, so we are over here, and you get to just have a bunch of laser turrets. Alright, so that didn't ultimately get all that bad. I mean, we lost a relatively small chunk of our iron ore smelting, and that will get fixed eventually. This whole thing is within drone range. Yep, it is. Alright, so what happened was that for whatever reason, these laser turrets over here, where were they? These ones weren't connected up to power, which... And they were like attacking down here, which I really don't want them to do. So let's extend this laser wall out a bunch. And we're going to have to bring drone coverage out here as well. But we should be able to just like connect this up to the iron ore patch. And that should be nice and secure. Alright, so we just do that. Get that last little wall in. And now drone coverage for the small dead zone in here. If we just get you like there, then you will cover everything. And we get power lines up to it. And let's get the drone port in. Okay, the drone port is in, and it is going to be powered soon. Once we get this last power pole up. I guess I'll do that manually since no one else seems to want to. Alright, so now this whole thing is being built, and that should be nice and secure now. No more weird gaps in our defenses there. And we go back. Those drones are probably some of these drones are my personal drones, which I need to recollect. There we go. And now we go back to our data cable system. So we sneak through there, and we just run across this way. Off we go. And it's fortunately not that big of a walk just yet. I really need to be placing down. I have all this concrete in my inventory, which I've been meaning to use to make more paths and stuff. So let's get that path in at least. Alright, so we need... It would be really nice if I could just, like, set the time limit on this to various numbers with the data cable system. But I can't. I can just set up a time limit manually over here somehow. Alright. So how do we do that? So, if you are... Okay, actually we need to read this guy down here as well. So, if you go in there, because we need to know if there is a train in that stop before we know that whether it's safe to leave or not. So, we set that to and. So if C1 is greater than 0, so that would mean that there is another train waiting to go around, then it's fine. And then the other thing is that this needs... Surely there's some sort of condition which is just like a timer or something. We have these special ones up here, which do fancy stuff, but I don't think any of these do anything fancy. I think those are the only two. And I think technically there's a third for input. So I do think we need to just like manually make a timer. So if we just do that, and if we can set this timer up, there's got to be a good way. Does anyone happen to know if there is like a convenient way of making something in the circuit network that just like increments over time or something? Because this is my only idea, and it's kind of ugly. So you would put a single item, I guess it's a pump jack, on that, and then you would have a arithmetic combinator, which I just crafted one instead of building one. So the combinator is connected up to that. This whole thing needs to be within the power grid for some reason. And then it needs to be connected back to itself. So wait, actually, okay, so what if we just do this? So we have, you are going to read belt contents, and it's going to be in pulse mode, which is probably correct for this. And it is going to be pump jack. Where's that? In here somewhere, probably. Pump jack plus, and then we have over here, then we have clock, and you output clock. Alright, so this works. And this works and it counts up, but it's pretty awful, and it's also not exactly easy to control. And you have to like set this all up manually. And then if I wanted to decrease that, no, this actually has all sorts of problems with it, I think. Alright. So let's take that out. There's all sorts of problems. It's hard to reset that, basically. Alright. So let's think here. If we just have, like, I don't know, something like this. And, okay, maybe we can do something with, like, an arithmetic plus a decider or something. So this is going to input just clock plus 1, and is going to output clock. Alright, so if we connect you back to each other, that is going to count up super, super quickly and just scale up to infinity. We don't want that. So that isn't going to work just because it counts too fast. And let's see here. How do we reset it is the other question. So we need this to like go up over time and then occasionally drop back down to 0. Does this have like a modulus? It does. So that's an option technically, but it's not a great one. It's not a great one. We have bit shifts. Is that really... Is that really just like straight up a bit shift? Okay, just give you a constant of like 30. Okay, why do we need that? Okay, sure. So you can do bit shifts, I guess, and you can do all sorts of weird stuff. 30 and 20 is 20. 30 and 4. Alright, so this is literally just... Yeah, so this is just weird bitwise shenanigans. And I feel like somewhere in there is like the secret to doing this. But I really don't want to... I don't want to have to think about binary operations. That sounds terrible. So let's just try going back to the good old classic of clock plus 1 and then outputting clock. But then if... How do we do this? There has to be a way. I feel like there's definitely a way, but I can't figure it out. Maybe the selector can magically solve something for me. So you... No, you're definitely not correct. It's definitely not the selector. So we have our clock, and let's see, if clock is greater, let's try setting up a way of resetting this, because it can still technically work. So if clock is greater than 100, let's say, then it's going to output the clock input count, and then you take the clock and multiply it by -1, and you output that in the clock. And why are you... How is there a tiny gap of no power there? Alright, so now we just sort of wire this up. And what do you... So you are now outputting 1. So if I connect this across, you oscillate between -100. So this actually works, right? So you go up to 100. Then you flip down to -100 and go up to 100 again. So this is like totally functional as a timer. And then this guy just needs to have like 1,000 or something. So it's going to need to be way more than 1,000. Alright, so this is going up, and then it's going to loop around to -1,000. So that is fine. And then it just sort of keeps cycling like that. There's got to be a way of making it not cycle every single frame, though. How do I make this not do that? Let me think here. I don't know. I mean, technically I have some really janky, awful ideas which would not actually help at all. But yeah, I don't know how to do that. Okay, what if instead of times -1, I had you do -1? What does that do? Does this just stay put? Yeah, that just stays put. Okay, wait. Hear me out here. You go back to times -1. So you, and then we are going to make you back down to 100. And so this is going to oscillate between a negative and positive. So that does that. And then this can trigger another clock. So we have another arithmetic combinator up here. And you draw from that, so you get access to the whole clock signal thing. And then, actually wait, no, this has to be a decider combinator, I think. Alright, so this decider combinator can see the whole clock signal, and if the clock is equal to exactly 0, which should happen at a regular interval, it can flash an output, which will be, I don't know, just some symbol. What symbol do I want this to be? We can have this just be the plus symbol, I guess. And it outputs a value of 1. And then we have another arithmetic combinator here, which takes a clock symbol, and then it adds the, where are you? The plus symbol, and it outputs it as the clock signal. So, if you get connected up, then, okay, you need to be connected into yourself. Alright, we've done it. I have invented a clock. This is not beautiful, but it should work. And then, let's see, if we go back here, which one is it? Like this one. And we make you, I'm just guessing at how many iterations per second this does. So if I set that to 60, then this 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. So yeah, this is going like once-ish a second, maybe. Alright, I've invented a clock. That was more difficult than it needs to be, and this is only like one part of the whole thing. So then this clock then also needs to cycle at a predefined time. So you get a decider combinator, which if clock is greater than 120, then you output a... I actually think this wants to do two outputs. So you output a check at a value of 1, and you output a... what? Just a signal 0 at a value of 1, maybe? Wait, how do we do this reset thing back here? I've already forgotten. So if this triggers, it outputs the clock at its current value down to here. Okay. So you output the clock at input count, and that then goes down to another arithmetic combinator, which does clock times... This one doing clock times 0 is probably fine. Okay, so we've researched Volcanus, which is cool. I guess we're gonna have to go there in order to do any of that stuff. In the meantime, let's just keep chugging away at researches we can do here. So then this signal goes back into you, and alright, let's set this to 90 instead of 120, just because that's about to trigger. So this is 91. This outputs... Alright, it does have to be times -1, I guess. And it's not working. Why? Why are you still counting up? Oh, did I not? I didn't connect you down to there. Alright, let's hope then that times 0 works, because it just is going to make things easier to keep track of. So if we connect you up, clock is greater than 90, we have to connect you up. So clock is greater than 90, so you're giving your outputs. And this... Oh, this is connected up wrong, isn't it? So you're not supposed to be connected up. You're supposed to be connected up. Right? So output clock times 0, which... Alright, so it doesn't have to be -1. I believe it does just have to be -1, which is... Actually, can we fix that so it doesn't go negative? If we instead of having you go directly to there, we have you go to there, and you are going to be clock plus... No, I think this is probably the best we can do. Alright, so let's see if we can make this like a blueprintable thing. Alright, so we take these 3 and those 4 out. So we have you, and we have you, and we have you. Then we have you into you, you, and you. So now we get the settings. So these settings go across like that. And then we get the signals. So you are connected across like that and down to there. And then you are connected to there. And you are connected to there. And then you go to there, you go there, you go there. Your output goes to there, and your output, this is the times -1 guy. Your output, actually no, this is wrong. You have to go back to there, and then you have to go across to there, I think. Alright, let's get the power pole in. So this one is cycling properly, and this one needs to be self-connected. Alright, so it's counting up. This is receiving that. This isn't currently receiving any input because of this. Alright, let's set this to 10 for now. So you're set to 10, and now you would go back down to negative something. Alright, so this is doing its thing. This is all working, and so the only thing I want to do is I want to get a way of inserting this into here as a signal. So you are going to be the weight signal instead of the number 10, and then we want either a constant combinator. So we have you go into there, and then this is going to add weight signal of 10. So that is effectively the same function as before, but we finished a research. We need to keep these going. What to queue up next? Stronger explosives. Sure, those are always nice. So this goes up 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then loops back down to -11. Alright, so this is going to be my circuit clock blueprint. So we can create that and stick it in the blueprint folder. And alright, that took way too long. And it's also probably not perfect. Like, I want to have... So I can control it from a distance by just like moving the... So I want to be able to control it from a distance by having the weight signal be something other than just like a flat 10, which I guess I could have combinators elsewhere that just like add to that and have it work. But I am pretty happy, honestly, with that progress at least. Alright, we finished that up. And I guess, what else do we want to unlock? Do more braking force, and I think we're going to wind up the stream here. We've made significant progress mostly on the design side of things. As far as like actually building more stuff, we did a little bit. We added this massive iron plate production, which is currently not attached to anything or finished. but it will be soon. We've mostly figured out the bugs in this. We have to make this a blueprint again in order to get it completely set up, but that should be pretty simple. And then we've finally figured out how to do our magical clock thing. So, thanks everyone for hanging out, and I will see you guys next time. I will be streaming again on Monday, back to more Factorio, where we are hopefully going to finish off this data cable system and get this actually functional. And once we have it functional, we can add it onto a bunch of other stuff. We still have a bit of work to do. Like, we need to convert this clock signal into telling the trains when to show up and leave. But that should be relatively simple. So, yeah, that's about it. Make sure to follow if you haven't already. I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time. And I'll be doing Factorio next, Satisfactory on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you're interested in any of that, make sure to stop by, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for